we should be good. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Live. Hello,
We're live, everybody. Hello, indeed. It's time for some rapid reviews, my dude.
It is time for some rapid reviews, indeed. It's weird. It weirdly feels like October was a very long month.
It's one day longer than some other months, but it felt like it's been forever since we did rapid reviews. What?
It does.
I don't know.
Indeed.
Anyway, it's rapid reviews. If you're new to rapid reviews, we're going to talk about every game we played in the last month.
Indeed.
Quickly review them, starting, of course, with all of the new-to-us games.
Yes.
And then quickly going through games that we've talked about before.
Indeed.
But first, what are we going to do?
We're going to talk about our patrons. We always talk about, because it's kind of a month review, we always talk about the new patrons we got the last month. So if you want to join our Patreon, there'll be a link down in the description below. You'll get a shout-out like this. Yeah. We actually got like 18 new patrons this last month.
Shout out to new patrons, and thank you returning patrons and former patrons.
Indeed, big shouts out. So we got Michelle Costello, we got Icarus OBS, we got Andy, we got Deidre Shea, we got Kyle Courtwright, we got Gabriel Nevadale, we got Joseph Boss, we got Ann Ling, we got Nameless Adventurer, we got Sarah Yu, Nick Budell,
It's next alter ego.
Yeah, it's just me pledging to ourselves. Like, hey, we got it. We got Nathaniel Clark, Joanne Broussard. We got Mark McRae Wagoner. What fun.
Love it.
Gray Bearded Meeple, Robin Ting, Bill Stilson, and James Smeal. Thank you so much to our new patrons.
Thank you, everybody.
We now, every time we do a top 10, we have a second top 10 that comes out on our Patreon.
Check them out. There's a few of those videos right now. We're going to be doing some extra stuff with our top 100. That's going to be for patrons. You'll get some stuff early. Then some stuff that's exclusive to patrons.
There's a new top 10 list tomorrow, so there'll be a new one over on Patreon. So check it out if you want to. But now let's get into our rap reviews. Now, we are live. If you're watching this after fact, we are live. So people in the chat, hello. Also, we're going to do a little Q&A afterwards. So people in the chat, you can drop questions in there. We'll go back through and find them, or you can wait until we're to the Q&A portion. But let's go ahead and get in. I believe it was 26 games this month, 26 or 27. Right. Technically a little bit more, but we talked about them last month.
We talked about certain things that we did at the World Series of Board Game that bled into October.
A little bit. So it was more like 30 ultimately for this month. But notice we actually just played Avatar, The Last Airbender, Fire Nation Rising. We actually haven't played any of the Rising games. There's like Thanos Rising, there's like the Batman Who Laughs Rising, there's like Plankton Rising.
Yeah, Star Wars one over in Europe.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different Rising
games.
And we always heard really good things about them. We've never actually played them.
They're all based on the same kind of game system, which is going to be ultimately a dice rolling game, trying to use what you roll to recruit heroes from some of your favorite IPs, to fight villains, and kind of ultimately overcome some sort of end game situation. So in this one, you're going against the Fire Nation is kind of threatening everybody. You get a recruitment of heroes like Ong and Zuko.
Yeah, and you're going up
this
like
from Avatar.
You have this like track that you can go up. And
there's a ruin and balance track.
Exactly.
That's the kind of unique thing to this one.
And then basically whoever gets to the top of that track first will have an advantage like in the second half of the game, which is kind of like the end fight. We always never get to the top of that track. We get destroyed on that track.
It's hard. You got to be really bad at it because the Fire Nation can move up multiple spaces, whereas you can only move a maximum of one per turn.
I don't know how you ever get to that track. It's so hard.
I think you have to hit it just about every turn.
Oh my God.
Like you really have to focus.
But we really, I liked it a lot. I actually thought it was really cool.
It's a great co-op in the kind of, I'm trying to think, like disaster reaction.
Yes.
Co-ops, like a pandemic where like bad stuff happens from the game. How do we deal with the latest bad crisis that happened? Crisis management.
It's crisis management.
This one's very much like that because the Fire Nation is moving around to one of the 3 locations. They're damaging the heroes that are there. If you lose a certain amount of heroes total, you lose the game. So you got to try to heal them, try to recruit them. You know, so you're kind of dealing with whatever the game just did to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's really fun, and I do want to try I like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I haven't really watched much of it. Mike's wife has watched a whole bunch of it. She loves it. So eventually, I know I'm going to watch the series, but we don't have much.
There's not like a big tie to the IP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm curious. It's really cool. But that's Avatar: Fire Nation, Avatar: Last Airbender. Fire Nation Rising. It's a very long name. Real quick, Tej League with the super chat in chat. Thank you so much. Said, my brothers are here. Make me smile. Smile. Tej. Yeah, the League family is just the best. Thank you so much, Tej. We love you so much.
So happy to have you all here. Thanks for watching, everybody.
The best. Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate it. So after that, we have these are also in alphabetical order.
Clever
you played
forever.
what I assume is a bad game.
It's the 4th in the Ganshon Clever series. There's Ganshon Clever, Dapo So Clever, Clever Hawk Dry, and then Clever Forever.
It is very dry, to be
whatever
fair.
it is in German. So this is a roll and write from Wolfgang Warsch in a series of roll and write games that are pure abstract. There's no theming to them or whatever. It's just amazing little puzzles where you're rolling out these dice and you're going
foxes,
to.
Right? And they're foxes.
There's foxes in there.
Foxes,
yeah, it's got. Look at that fox right there. Look at that fox.
Come on.
Look
The
at
theme is
that
foxes. It's basically what was the Elizabeth Hargrave one that just came out?
The Fox Experiment.
It's basically that, but a roll.
Wolfgang Wart's like, I've been doing the Fox Experiment for 4 games now. So
he's
this
gonna
is
sue
the 4th
Panasaurus
one.
soon. Be like, you took my game.
If you played Gauntron Clever or any of the Clever series, you will know generally what's going on here. You're rolling out these different colored dice like you see on the cover there. You're drafting one of them. The color that you draft will pertain to a certain area. There's basically different puzzles, different little areas you can work on based on the color of dice. You're going to work on that area. If you take the gray die in this one, depending on the value, you're going to X off like these different shaded shapes. And you're kind of filling out this like grid by doing kind of like little Tetris shapes of different...
Is it already an app?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is there
I will not be playing any of these physically. No, absolutely not.
I love that it's like, yeah, we're just going to have this come out at the exact same time.
It's all in here, baby.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this one has just, if you know, again, the Gauntron Clever and Doppel So Clever and stuff, it's very much in that. I personally really enjoy the puzzles in this one. It's a little easier to, like... This particular version is less restrictive. There's less, like, specific rules that bar you from playing dice. But figuring out the combos of how you make, because it's all about triggering bonuses, because you'll go this far in this one area and you get to X off something in the blue area, and you get in this blue area, and that gives you a bonus. You get to go something in the pink area, and it's all about finding those combos. No, thank you. Come here.
Our dogs are huffing at something at the door.
And so it's all about finding those combos and stuff. And this one I've been struggling to find how those combos work, but it's been really exciting. So I want to play this one more. I played Gauntron Clever, the first one in particular, so much. And I started playing it again because I was searching the app to see if this one had come out yet, and it hadn't. And I'm very excited. But then Marvel Snap has taken over, so I haven't played it recently. But it's so good. Clever Forever. It's another great one in the Clever series. If you like it, you're gonna like this one.
Indeed. Ben League now, the other league with the super chat. Thank you so much. I can't have Teej outdo me. You make me smile just as much as you do for her. Well, thank you so much.
Competition, I like it.
It's great.
Ben and Teej,
thank
we
you
appreciate
so
both of
much.
you
We
very
appreciate you both. Okay, next game. What is this?
Oh, this is the Wandering Towers.
This was on Mike's list, and I was like, when did you play this?
Turma. You don't know Divondelin Turma?
I don't know Divondelin Turma. Would you play this?
I played this at the game day at John D. Claire's.
When?
Humble brag with Lincoln and Nikki. You were doing some other stuff you're going to
I
talk
did not
about.
know you played this game.
The Wandering Towers, this just released at Essen.
Okay.
I don't think it's available in English yet. This is a Kramer and Kiesling game. This is a Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling game.
Okay.
Really interesting. I didn't play a full game of this, but it was really fun. So you have this circular, you connect a bunch of pieces. It makes this kind of circular path board. And then you have all of these like little turret pieces, like these pieces of tower. And you have these like wizards. And there's like the Raven's Tower. And so the way this game works is on your turn, you're going to play up to 2 cards. And the cards are going to give you either the ability to move a castle piece, like a turret piece, a tower piece.
Okay.
Or move one of your wizards a certain amount of distance based on this. So it might be like move a castle 3 or move a wizard 5 spaces. What you're ultimately trying to do is you're trying to get your wizards around the board to dunk into the Raven's Tower.
Okay.
And the first person to get all their wizards into that Raven's Tower wins. But you also have these different potions that you have to fulfill, and you fulfill that by covering up wizards with tower pieces. So if you cover up wizards with tower pieces, or if you move a tower piece with wizards, those wizards go happily along the trail with the tower piece.
Okay.
And so it's this interesting little game where you're trying to move towers and then move your wizards off them and dunk them into the Raven's Tower. There's almost like a memory element because you'll cover up wizards, which allows you to flip over your potions to then spend on getting extra movement. But there's like a memory because you like all of a sudden realize like, I can't see any of my wizards. I don't know which tower they're in because now they're covered up with stuff. So there's like this kind of like, oh crap, where'd my people go? And you can, if you have a thing that's like 3 high, you can move all 3 or just the top tower and stuff. So it's like, it's just kind of this little puzzly game, really cute, very light and stuff. But like, it's actually like the puzzliness of it is interesting. And every time a wizard gets dunked into the Raven's Tower, leave it. Nick's got to make the obligatory Mary cameo. Every time you dunk the wizard into the Raven's Tower, that tower then moves and stuff. So it's kind of just this like little puzzly game. Really cute though, fun game. Die Wandelin Türme.
Okay, I was like, I didn't know what that game is.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned earlier that they've been loving the playthroughs we've been doing, and
Thank you.
been love Dreadful Meadows specifically. Dreadful Meadows is a game by Arcus Games. We did a playthrough for this.
Yes.
Really fun game. It's a great like Halloween-y type game. It's cool. It's a game about you are confectioners, you're candy makers, and essentially what you're doing is you're getting these tiles, and these tiles are candy patches like pumpkin pops and gooey globs, different kinds of candy, and then you're putting it into your little tableau, and like putting in your little tableau basically, and you're building out your little tile network, which are different candy patches, and you have these little sugar sprites, your little workers, and you'll put it onto one of the
They produce the
candy patches, and then it produces candy on all the tiles adjacent to it. And then you can get these like harvesters, where if you place a candy sprite next to a harvester, that harvester will also produce around them. And it's just really fun, and there's actually a lot more strategy than it kind of seems at first. When you're reading the rulebook, it feels like a pretty light game, and it is, but
really light. You can work it, it's puzzly.
Yes, it's puzzly.
In a light way, but yeah.
And then all your confectioners have a different special power. They're all really cool and really useful. It's really fun. And then you have these concoction cards, which are just
contracts.
Just contracts, basically. Where this one needs like 3 of this kind of candy, 2 of this kind of candy. And so then you can put candy onto those and fulfill those cards. That's where you get most of your points. It's just really fun. I really liked it a lot. And I think this is going to be a staple around this time of the year.
It's going to be a Halloween evergreen. It's going to be a Halloween evergreen for sure. Like, it's a perfect game for this time of year. It's cute. It's not scary. It's a satisfying game to play. Like, I taught it to my wife and mother-in-law, and they both were like, kind of went through that process of like, realized like, oh, this is more tricky than I thought. And then at the end of it, they're both like, I want to play again because now I know how I can work some stuff. And I think we went through that same process of like, now I know some ways to work this a little bit more efficiently. But it's a great little game. Really well done. Yeah, a lot of people in the chat said there need to be more holiday-themed games. I totally agree. Yeah. Holidays from all over the world, I totally agree. I want to see more holiday-based games. We have more than we've had. In the last couple years, I feel like there's been more. But yeah, it's just so fun because, like, if nothing else, you'll play it at that time of year. We play Gingerbread House every year during the winter because it's cozy and stuff. Yeah. Dreadful Meadows is really fun, though. I finally got to play. I put this in the new one because I finally got to play Endless Winter Paleo Americans. Yes, you did. Mike and our good buddy Crook have played it on like Tabletopia a bunch, but I never really. Associate Crook. We played it. They played it on like Tabletopia. I hadn't had a chance to play it, so Crook came over and brought it because the Kickstarter just got sent to people, and it's really fun. This is a game where you are kind of like again Paleo Americans in like North America and stuff, and you are just trying to live and stuff. And it's kind of a worker placement game where you have a couple different spots you can go to, but really only like 4. Yeah. And essentially what you're doing is like one of the spots will be like kind of an area control where you can kind of expand your tribe. One spot's for like hunting. One spot's for getting like rituals and stuff like that, or one of those cards. And then on top of that, you're getting cards. There's a bit of deck building too. Yeah, and it's a really fun game. I really liked it a lot. And on top of that, in the Kickstarter, there's a whole bunch of these different little modules. There's a ton in that box. A whole bunch of them. And I'm just like, man, I really like the base game. But now I'm just kind of like, ooh, what are these modules? Like, they seem really cool. It's something that I feel like, because I have played it 3 or 4 times total now, it's something where I'm like, I'm ready for a module to be in here to just add to. I think it's a mental thing, but because there's only 4 action spots, I feel like, well, the game's limited. It's super not. No, there's all sorts of culture cards and ways to like modify what you do. But I'm really excited to explore some of the modules. It's cool because your cards are kind of like multi-use because all the cards will have a certain amount of labor on them. And it could be like full labor or like a half a labor. And so whenever you go to any of these spots, you can turn in cards for their labor. And your cards are just your tribespeople. And so it's just like, they're literally just going to work, working hunting or whatever like that. Yep. And so it's a very cool way. It's like, okay, do I want to drop like all my cards on this one action? And not have much for the next 2 turns. But not have much. It's very interesting. It's really fun. Got great Miko art. Great, cool minis and stuff like that. It's a very good game. It's a super stellar production. It's beautiful. Fantasia, who has like Unconscious Mind coming out. Yeah, right now. They don't mess around. Like their games are super pretty. They're doing okay. We're gonna try and play this on a game house at some point in the future. We're not sure. We borrowed Crooks. It's up there. We have a few of Crooks games up there. They're all up there. We also have Anachrony, which is Crooks up there. So thanks, Crook. Endless Winter is really fun though. We played Hoplomachus Remastered. There'll be a playthrough of this coming out, I think, on like Saturday actually, so very soon here. Yeah. So Hoplomachus Remastered is a remastered version of Hoplomachus from Chip Theory Games. Yeah, from Chip Theory Games, which is like a really big solo, really only campaign where you're like these gladiators in the Hoplomachus Victorian, which is like the main one. You're like
there's all this different stuff. You're going around to all these different
that's a
like,
pure
lands
solo
and like
game.
going into like these big fights, all this stuff. Hoplomachus Remastered is very much scaled down, where it's just like basically one arena. And then you have a couple different ways you can play. You can play like one-on-one, and we were talking about
skirmish mode.
On the box, it says 60 minutes. If you are playing like a one-on-one skirmish mode, it's probably like 60 minutes, which is really, really cool.
You're trying to knock each other's people out.
You can play like team mode. There's like this like ascension mode kind of thing you can play. What we played was something called Onslaught, which is actually a cooperative version where we're both in the same team, and there's like these big, strong immortals that were coming through, and you have to try and defeat 6 immortals.
Yes.
And it's really hard.
They're hard.
They're really tough.
Because the immortals themselves cannot be damaged through attacks. You can get the crowd into it by attacking them, which is important to move up the track. And something we learned, you'll see in our playthrough, like, oh, we should have done that more. But there's also like arena units that are going around, like lions and stuff. And as you take them out, that's what damages the immortal. Or if you control these couple of hexes on the board, these stone hexes, you can also damage the immortal.
But you can't fight them directly.
You can't fight them directly.
It's really hard.
Yeah, it's interesting because like if you were to go through the whole thing, you would go through 6 of them.
Yeah.
Which is a steep ask.
And they do say in the rulebook, this is really hard to get through 6. It's because when you lose troops, it's hard to get them back. Again, there's this crowd track that you can go up, and you can get them back if you go up the crowd track, but you have to go up the crowd track like 15 times, which means you have to hit the immortal 15 times. But keep in mind, hitting the immortal doesn't hurt them. So you're essentially kind of like spending attacks for nothing, but like it's tough to get these things back.
It's one of those things that like mentally you're like warring with because you're like, well, I feel like this is useless. It's not. Again, one thing we learned, like, oh, you can gain a lot by doing this. You can also recover some units this way, like must do. But it seems counterproductive. Yeah,
it's interesting.
And so you're kind of getting pulled in these multiple directions. And of course, depending on who's coming and attacking you, maybe you have to focus on this thing that's going to come hit you. Instead of, so you're getting pulled in a lot of different directions, but it's a really interesting, fun game. Fairly straightforward.
Yeah, it's
like,
really
of course, there's like terminology and stuff, but the chips themselves, of course, as Chip Theory does well, have all the information right there.
Yeah.
They have all these keywords, and then you have one skill sheet that has all those keywords and lays them out perfectly. Like, this is how this works.
As far as Chip Theory games, it's by far the simplest.
Out of the ones we've played. Yeah, like, okay, this is cool. So this one is multiplayer. Then Hoplomachus Victorum, which is coming, is a solo-only campaign game, which we're going to cover. I think maybe right in the new year for Chip Theory. But it was really fun, especially like gladiator battles and stuff. They have different factions you're going to play as a faction that'll have kind of a different vibe to them. And so
cool. It's
interesting
really cool.
game for sure.
Yeah, I liked it.
For me, I'm like, great. Either I'd play it solo, which a lot of people are going to play it, or co-op. There's co-op modes, 2 co-op modes. Play those.
Yeah, it's great. It's very cool. We played Le Havre Inland Port. We tried to play this at World Series Board Game, didn't get a chance to.
Didn't quite have time.
But it turns out they have a digital implementation of it, which is really, really good.
Works really
well. So yeah, this is the 2-player version of Le Havre. Uwe does that a lot. There's like Caverna Cave versus Cave. There's Agricola, all creatures big and small. There's Hallertau, butt versus butt.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's really great. There's not a how
people just throw hops at each other. It's like a
There's not a
war
Feast
game.
for Odin one.
No.
What would it be called?
I don't know. Snacks for Odin.
Snacks for Odin.
It's just a snack. It's a small thing. That's such a big game. If you were to try to pare it down, like, what would that be?
I don't know. But nonetheless, Le Havre in the Port's really, really fun. I will say it's nothing like Le Havre. It's really just a different game with the Le Havre theme on it.
It's thematically the same of like, these are the types of buildings and resources you see in Le Havre, but functionally
nothing even remotely like it.
Completely different.
But it's cool because you essentially have this big warehouse. You have like your warehouse on your port. And essentially in that warehouse, you have your different goods. You have like wheat, you have like brick, you have wood, that kind of stuff. And essentially, you're going to be activating these buildings. And these buildings, for the most part, are going to allow you to move your resources to the right and up. And essentially, if you move to the right, that means you have 1 more resource of that type. But if you move up, that means you have 3 more resources of that type. So these buildings will be like, it'll be an arrow at an angle like this, and that means you get to move up 1 into the right, which is cool because that means you're moving up 4 of those resources.
You're essentially gaining 4 of that resource, but it's now in this spatial puzzle.
Exactly, and then when you pay for these buildings, when you're buying these buildings so that you can access
slide to
them,
the left or down.
You have to pay them by moving your stuff down, and you can be like, okay, I'm going to move it down 1, which is 3, and then over 2, which is 5, and it's just like this really cool little puzzle, and then all the buildings are very, very simple. They mostly move those things, but sometimes they'll give you money and things like that. You can turn in stuff for money.
Money is ultimately your points, so if
Like,
you can do
for
something to turn into money, that's
every time you
score.
move wheat down, you'll get like $3 or something like that. I'm not entirely sure exactly. And
Things
so it's
of that
really
nature,
cool.
yeah.
It's really, really fun. Again, it's very, very, very not really like Le Havre, but it's a very fun game on its own. It's very out of print, unfortunately. And so if we ever found it physically, I'd really like to get it physically.
I searched it on eBay. It's like $100. I'm like, never mind.
You're like, it's not worth
We're
$100.
good.
But the digital implementation on Steam is
Works
really,
well.
really good.
Yeah,
so
it's
if
really
you,
smooth and pretty too. Very pretty.
Yeah, it's very nice. And so I was very, very happy with it. Yeah.
People mentioned the 2-player version of Feast for Odin's patchwork. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yes, you're right.
That's
I
where it
guess
came
you are
from.
right.
And thank you. This mug is celebrating the electrical parade from
It
Disneyland.
is. And then this one is, I guess, a left-handed mug, but this is also a Disney mug.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Disney mugs in this house.
Hola, hermano Smurf. Hola,
What's up,
tío.
Reg?
Buenos dias, my friend.
Okay, so let's start. I said Star Wars Inland Port. I almost said Star Wars. Inland
Almost. They
Port.
almost got the IP a bit, but
This
they
could be
said,
Kylo, you know.
Could be. Probably is.
You got to play Mist over Carcassonne. I am
over Carcassonne.
very jealous about this.
I'm excited to play more of this. This is a new version of Carcassonne, which I just debuted at Essen, so I don't think it's available in English over here yet. This is a cooperative version of Carcassonne where there are like ghosts and things now. And there's basically like, I don't want to say a campaign, but there's like different levels
The
of
legacy game?
difficulty that you,
You're ripping up
you
tiles?
actually, if you get a city, half city, you cut it in half, and then that's half your city. You have different levels of difficulty, so you can kind of work your way up, and it's just incorporating more elements from the game box. But in its kind of base version, which I played, the base most version, which is pretty basic, you have tiles that you're placing out. Now again, it's cooperative, so the main things that you see in Carcassonne of like roads and cities still apply. Got to make the landscape make sense. There are little changes to that,
Can't
but
have a
roads
half
have to touch
ghost.
roads,
Yeah.
cities have to touch cities. That kind of stuff is as usual.
Yeah.
And as you complete roads and cities and stuff, you score points. And in the first version, you collectively as a team need to score 50 points.
Okay.
Or you cannot win.
Okay, interesting.
But you have all these ghosts that are going out because all these tiles have mist on them, and they'll have one or more ghosts in the mist. And if you place that out, you have to put those many ghosts onto the board. And you have like a pool of like 15 ghosts. So if ever you need to draw a ghost and put it on the board and you cannot place them because your supplies run out, you lose. So you're now having to manage these ghosts, and you can manage the ghosts by completing areas of like this mist. If you kind of close it off, those ghosts go away. Or as you complete roads and cities and stuff, you can also remove some ghosts and kind of manage that. So now you're managing like, and sometimes you're faced with the choice of like, okay, I completed a 4-tile road. Do we want 4 points, or do we want to get rid of a ghost or two? You have to choose. And so now you're kind of got these different things to focus on, and it makes it work really well. It's like a co-op thing where now I want to like, where we might want to get into a city and like I want to attach your city to like compete with you. Now we both stand a game because we might be able to score and get rid of ghosts.
That's
and so
interesting.
now you're really trying to build collectively, and it's just a cool way to think about it where you're really trying to make optimal moves for each other instead of just for yourself.
That seems very cool.
Cute theme and stuff. This will be another one that when we get it will be like an evergreen Halloween game.
Yeah.
And like there's other levels that incorporate like cemeteries and like you have to bury your meeples. You have to bury them in the cemetery and stuff, which means you have less meeples to put out on the board to score stuff.
Interesting.
And there's like guard dogs and stuff. So there's just these different elements that get incorporated, and I imagine that once we have it all incorporated, we'll just play with everything.
Interesting.
But the challenges get harder. So really cool version of Carcassonne.
Okay,
Really
cool.
like
I
it a
really
lot.
want to. I was very jealous you got to try that. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I was playing this game.
You were?
Well,
That's why you
apparently
didn't
you were
play-
playing both those
Yes.
games. I was playing Ping Yao. We actually have Ping Yao.
Yeah, we do. It's right
Our
over there.
friend Shay gave it to us because he had to cover it for Rado, and he was like, "Hey, I think you'd like this game." And everyone who describes the game is like, "It's this weird economic game." That's what everyone
Specifically to
refers-
say it's a weird economic
Yeah, it's like
game.
it's an economic game, but it's just interesting. It's weird. And
Do
so,
you
okay.
agree with that statement?
Yeah,
that we
it's a
played
weird
it? Okay,
economic
so
game.
why?
That's
So
how-
explain it to me because I haven't played this.
It's Ping Yao, the first Chinese banks, and so basically you are in China and you're building out these banks, and you each have your headquarters, the Ping Yao headquarters, and then it's a worker placement game where you have it's a dice placement game where you roll out your dice, and then the dice will activate in like from 6 to 1. So if anyone has a 6, they'll go first, and then if there's ties, you'll have turn order and stuff like that. So essentially, but 6s are the weakest, and then 1 is the strongest. So in all these action spaces, there will be, for the most part, I think actually all of them are like this, you could go there, do an action, and then if you're putting a 6 or a 5 down, you get to do this kind of level of action, which is usually much weaker. If you put a 3 or 4, it's kind of like the middle of the road. If you put a 1 or a 2, that's like the best version of that action.
But you have to save those actions for later. Yeah.
So it's interesting, and also each action space, only one, you can't repeat a number. So if you and me both have 4s and you go to this spot, I can't go to that spot anymore.
We can go there with a 3.
I can go there with a 3, exactly. But if you go there with a lower number, you have to pay money to the bank, whatever the difference between the last die was. So if someone put a 6 down, and then I want to go there with a 1, I have to pay $5 to the bank. It's very odd in that way.
You're kind of blocking people in a way.
Kind of in a way, yeah. And sometimes you're like, oh, it's not really blocked, but you're kind of like, I don't want to pay that much.
Are you willing to pay?
Or you're like, well, now if I pay that money, I'm now not going to have the money to do the thing I want to do. And that happened a couple times. But basically, a lot of times what you're doing is you're getting these banks, and these banks will go into your kind of like headquarters. And then a lot of these banks, there's like level 1 banks, level 2 banks, and level 3 banks. And level 1 banks obviously are cheaper and mostly will have certain powers on them. But then you also need to get these like essentially bank workers to put on them that will just stay there, and then now that tile is active. But it's this kind of weird thing where you also have to have a backing of silver in your bank. So you have these like silver pieces that you can get a couple different ways, but they're generally pretty, they're kind of rarish. And so anytime you open a bank, you have to have silver to put in that bank. As essentially like a backing.
So, yeah.
And getting that silver is tough. And so you can pull out these like remittance loans or like give loans or take back loans. It's like all this different kind of stuff. But it's really fun. It's really, really fun. And I was basically like, okay.
Interesting.
I'm going to try and just have the most money possible, which it sounds like, yeah, of course, right? But it's like,
you're a bank.
But really, I was like, okay, I'm going to get all these banks that like one of the banks was like, for every green bank you have, you'll get extra money during income. So I had so much money in this game. I was just like rolling in cash.
And was that helpful?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
But even then, I only got 1 level 3 bank. It's really hard to get them. And so like, it's really, really fun. I really enjoy it. It's cool. It's very cool. And then we have the English. We don't actually have an English copy here.
Yeah,
there's no
it's all
words
language
in it.
independent.
Yeah, so now I can like teach Mike this game. It was fun. I really liked it, but it is kind of like this. It's this weird economic game that's kind of hard to describe, kind of hard to teach, but ultimately it's really fun.
You described it. I'm so like,
what was that? Yeah, it's cool though. Ping out, good times. I'm glad I finally got to try it, and I got taught it, which was nice.
Yes,
so
I think that may be
I was playing
the
with
key.
Candace and Amanda Panda, and it was really, really fun.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting game. Yeah,
That's
it's cool.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Nick, we just played and we just had an overview and playthrough of this on our channel
Watch
as of
him
this
if you
week.
haven't.
Please watch him if you haven't and give a thumb up and a comment. Slay the Spire, the board game. So this is obviously famously a video game. You can play it on the Switch, on your phone, on the computer.
Is it a video game?
It's a popular one, I dare say. And it's cool because for board gamers, we I think often are drawn to this game because it's a deck building game. You're like, oh my gosh. This is like a pure deck building game. Like this scratches a board game type itch very well.
Yes.
And then they've made it.
Game,
now they made it into a board game, which the main thing, because we've had people ask, like, what's the main difference? Like, well, now this is a multiplayer experience.
Yes.
Slay the Spire is strictly a solo game. And so now this turns into a multiplayer experience where you can each take on different heroes. So like in our playthrough, I was the Ironclad, you were the Silent. Yeah. They have all 4 characters in the game. And if you're playing, when you go to do an encounter, if you're doing like combat, you're going to each get a row of villains, of monsters to fight, but you don't have to just fight your row.
No, you don't.
We can really tag team where like, the main example we always use is like, I'm gonna hit one of your monsters and add vulnerable to them. Nick's gonna come in with his big attack, which now because there's vulnerable deals double damage. For that first attack, so you can really kind of lob the ball and have someone else spike it down and really get kind of creative in how you work your attacks. And then when it comes to defending yourself and stuff, whatever row of monsters is in front of you, they're going to target you. That's what they're going to be focused on, hitting you. So you need to kind of defend against whatever their attack is going to be based on usually we'll roll a die. If it's a 1, that means they're going to attack for 3, and this other person's going to block for 4, so they're going to have some block next turn, stuff like that. It feels very Slay the Spire-y, so it's kind of cool because if you're familiar with Slay the Spire and you start to see these cards, you're going to know what they're going to do in general, and then what it just comes down to is like how it's been changed for the board game. And often, in general, like the numbers have been simplified. You're not going to get 900 block. it maxes at like 10, but also the amounts of health and stuff are lower. They're just
and
simpler
no one's hitting
numbers.
for 50.
No one's hitting for 50 because like the health of this is not 100, it's now 10 or something. So everything's just simplified.
All the changes they made for the board game make sense. Like there's nothing where like, that's kind of weird now. It's like, oh no, this makes sense. Like
it makes sense because like if you have a video game, you can do something like Weak where it gives 25% less of something. But if you're doing that in person, that'd be a nightmare having to do math like that. So now it's just like you do like one less attack. And so it's simplified.
Yeah, it's cool. I really like it. And it really feels like cooperative. Like in our playthrough, we were kind of playing a little bit more like I go, you go, just to make it clear for the audience. But it really is cooperative. One is like a lot of block cards will give block. You can give block to other people. And there's so much, like you said, like you're getting hit by the things in your row, but you don't have to hit the things in your row. So sometimes like, oh, this is going to hit for like 3 or 4. And you're like, crap, I didn't draw any block cards. It's like, okay, well then let's all focus on that monster to get them out. And I'll just take the hits from mine or whatever. And so you can really like work together.
Yeah.
And it's really, really cool. I like
really
it a lot. I think it's super fun. And it's just fun to play Slay the Spire multiplayer. It's just really, really fun.
It's really cool. It's fun to see like how do these characters and the types of flavors they all provide, because they're all different, how do they interact with each other? So it's one we want to explore more, because we only were provided in the prototype we got Act 1 material. So only the cards
and we really wanted to
for the
going.
monsters and stuff that you'd see in Act 1. We wanted to keep going. We had good builds. We're like, keep going.
We were having so
a lot of people have
much
asked, like, oh, you're going to do part 2? It's like, no, we weren't given that. We didn't have time enough with the game. So
but nonetheless, I really like it. I love Slay the Spire. It's so fun to play it cooperatively. I think the changes they made for the board game make sense. I think it's done really, really well. And yeah, I think it's really outstanding. I think it's really, really fun.
We're fans for sure.
We got to play Terra Nova, which is kind of like the lighter version of Terra Mystica. Now, granted, we've never played Terra Mystica, so we can't vouch for that.
But we're going to get to that. Yes, we're going to do a comparison.
So eventually. The plan for this is we're going to be doing a playthrough, like a full playthrough on a game house for Terra Nova, Terra Mystica, and Gaia Project, and then have a video after the fact, kind of talking about all three, because we've never played any of them.
Yeah.
Terra Nova obviously is new, but we've never played Terra Mystica, never played Gaia Project. Always wanted to, just never really had the opportunity to.
Haven't crossed our table. Yeah.
And so we're going to kind of play all three and then kind of compare them and talk about them from really like a noob's standpoint, right? Because we're like, we've never played any of them. But Terra Nova itself, I really, really enjoyed.
It's cool.
It's an interesting game where you have like a little faction and stuff, and you're essentially kind of putting out your pieces onto the board, but your faction has a specific like land type that only they can be on.
You can only live on deserts.
Yeah,
you know?
or like mine, like I was like leprechauns, they can only live on like swamps. And so what you're doing is you're like terraforming a lot of the land. Like I'm gonna turn this like desert area into a swamp, so now I can put my piece there later. And then you're essentially trying to like build out what houses, and you make them into settlements, you make them into like cities and stuff, or
outposts, and palaces.
And it's really fun. I really liked it. We played with kind of there's 10 different factions, and like 5 more A's, and then the other ones are B's.
The other 5 are a little more complicated. I say complicated, but they're just they have a little bit more. They're a little more involved, but it's ultimately a light game.
Yeah, it's ultimately a pretty light game, but we kind of we went through all the factions and looked at it.
We did everything. This is the suggested first play. Like have these factions.
And it was fun,
set the bonuses, because it really comes down to like the round bonuses. You're playing 5 rounds, and what's going to score you points in that round is what you should probably focus on. And stuff. So in this round, you might get bonuses for building out houses. Like, well, I'm going to place a lot of houses because really you're getting most of your points in game. And then you're kind of creating, like, ultimately you want to have, it's kind of Clans of Caledonia-ish, where as you uncover stuff, you get more income each round. And you ultimately want to have sort of a collection of connected via your shipping level, I'll say, to keep it Clans of Caledonia-ish. At the end of the game, get some end game points. But it's really cool. All the little factions are really interesting. They give you just a little bit of a thing that you can do that someone else can't.
It's
very
cool.
exciting. It makes me really excited to play like Terra Mystica, which is, of course, the hope. As you play this, you're like, ooh, I want to try Terra Mystica now.
I think that's the plan.
And then Gaia Project eventually. So
real quick, Gramtastic in chat said, amazing list, enjoying while waiting for a surgery. Game on, brothers. Gramtastic, good luck on your surgery.
Good luck on surgery.
I hope it goes well, and I hope you have a speedy recovery, indeed. Terra Nova was cool, though. It makes me really excited to play Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. But I did like it. This is cool. If you want to kind of introduce mechanics, you can introduce it to maybe not as heavy gamers, which is cool. I liked it, and it looks really nice, too. We played, how do you say it again?
I think it's Tiletum.
Tiletum, which is the newest board and dice game, the newest kind of like tea game. And this one's really fun. It's just about the beigest, most boring thing you can think of.
I love it. I don't care. I mean, yeah, it's the cover is a little misleading because this is much more colorful than the game itself.
The game itself looks...
The cover is wonderful. It's a pretty beige because a big portion of the board is a map. It's just connecting cities.
You can make maps pretty.
You can make maps prettier. You could add a little more texture. I do understand the flip side being like a Raj of the Ganges, and people say it's too busy. I do not envy publishers because they're like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
However, it's pretty flat and beige.
Yeah.
I don't mind so much because I don't mind a dry game, but I cannot give it high marks on its looks. However,
I honestly think it's one of the worst looking games.
I'm not quite there with you, but you have very strong opinions about that. Which I can't argue a counterpoint to that.
I really like the game. I just think
wonderful.
It's one of the worst looking games on the planet.
But it's such a good game. It's a dice drafting game
Yeah.
where it all kind of comes down to if you choose a low value die, like a 1 or 2 pips, you're going to get fewer resources. If I draft a pink die, when you draft that die, the first thing you get is resources based on the color of that die and the amount of pips it is. So if I have a 2 pink, I'm going to get 2 food.
Yep.
But if you take that die, it's going to be associated with a certain action, and you're going to get 5 action points for that action. So you get to do a lot more stuff. You're just going to get fewer resources. So hopefully you don't need that resource for this action. So there's that balance of like, do I want more stuff or do I want more things to do? And how do you work
when you
that?
you need to grab a 6. You're like, great, I got 6 stone. I can now do one
action
thing.
point.
And it's kind of like, that is not
it's
lot.
the inverse of the die,
it's
right?
Really
so
interesting.
And it's just a great puzzle to put together. You know, it's like, what do I prioritize here? I'm trying to do these contracts. So it's like, okay, I need like a bunch of wool to complete this contract. So do I take this die, but then that action is sort of wasted? There's all sorts of bonus tiles that will give you points, give you resources, give you action points for a random action. So in the middle of this action for
contracts or whatever.
Contracts, I can like move my merchant around the board and stuff. And so like there's these wild combos.
And the game is really predicated on like getting those tiles and like comboing stuff together. The very first time Mike and I played this, Mike like saw that matrix really well, and I super did. And Mike like almost lapped me. I played a really bad game, but then during our playthrough,
you kind of caught up. You got up to speed, and then
one play, I was like, oh, now I'm starting to see the matrix here a little bit, and it made it.
I definitely got away with the victory in the first one.
So if you might need like 1 or 2 plays of the game to kind of get into it, but I do think it's really fun once you do.
Yeah.
But man, at first it's like you really need to be comboing those things together. Otherwise, you just can't do that much. But I did very much enjoy it. I thought it was cool.
I think the puzzle of it is amazing.
Yeah.
I do wish it looked a little prettier. Maybe what you can
I
do
wish it
because
looked
there's
like
a lot
this.
of yes, because you're doing these fairs every round, and this is kind of a depiction of the fair. And again, this cover is beautiful.
It's fine, yeah.
It's so
Classic
nice
kind of art
looking.
cover, yeah.
And I just wish the board had a little bit more of that flavor. It's just very functional.
Yeah.
It's pure functionality. And they can get away with a little more.
And here's the thing, like, I still love Carpe Diem, and now the newer version is slightly better, but it's like, I still love that despite how that one looked. And so it's like, I still enjoy the game.
It doesn't change our enjoyment of the mechanisms, but it doesn't add to the enjoyment.
Yeah.
I'll say, right?
Indeed.
Great game, though. I love this game. One of my favorite T games for sure.
Yeah. We played the Bloody Inn. Oh, so this is now, I guess, the Tiletum.
We've moved out of the new and into the old.
Now we're into the old. We play Bloody Inn usually around this time of year because
the
it's
last time we played it was October 30th of 2021, and now we played it on the 31st of 2022.
There you go. The Bloody Inn is our favorite kind of macabre game. This is a game where you are a family running an inn in France, and you realize as a family, like, hey, we can make more money by killing our guests and just rifling their pockets than we can by having them stay here.
Stuffing them under the floorboards.
Indeed. It's a very macabre game. But it's done this wonderful Weapons in Santiago art. And it's just fun. It's this really cool game.
It is.
But it's an interesting game because it's all about balance. On each round, you only get 2 actions.
Only 2 actions.
And that's kind of tough because you have a lot you need to do, essentially. So on your turn, you can bribe a guest, which means you bring them into your hand.
Which then you can then use to basically make a lot of actions cheaper.
Yes, exactly. And then, or you can kill a guest, and then you have a dead person, and then you need to bury that person somewhere. And so
there's out in the open.
So you need to make annexes, which will give you places to put bodies. And so there's all these. So that's essentially 4 actions. But even if you are, if you're killing a guest, you have to kill them. You have to bury them, and you have to have an annex to bury them under.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to get that done. And then in the inn, there's constantly guests coming in. And if there's any police coming through, because police are just staying at your inn,
gonna investigate.
you have to not have any dead bodies at the end of that round, or else they're gonna snoop around basically and find a dead body, and then you have to pay money back and stuff like that. It's this whole thing, but it's really fun, and it's got this really interesting, tough balancing act you have to do throughout the game. And it's really, really fun. It's very, very macabre. It's very kind of like, well, this is really weird, but it just works. I love it so much.
It works really well as a theme. I enjoy it because it doesn't get like heavy. It's not gross or anything like that.
No. There's no
it's not
gore
bloody.
or
it's
anything like that.
Not bloody for the bloody end.
Yeah.
And it's this card balance because if you want the most valuable cards to kill and bury, you have to spend cards from your hand to kill them. You have to spend cards from your hand to bury them. And if it's like a level 3, you have to spend 3 cards from your hand to do each of those things. So the hand management part
it's really hard.
is really tricky. And it's not simple as like just get as many cards in your hand as possible, because at the end of every round, for every card in your hand, you have to pay $1 because they're employed by you.
Yeah.
So you can't just roll with 10 cards in hand unless you're willing to pay your points to do it.
Yeah, money is tight too.
So it's this tricky balance, and a lot of the characters, if you have them in your hand, if you're going to bribe somebody and you pay with a blue card, you get to pick that card back up.
Because they're good at bribing.
That's their thing that they're good at. Each character, each type of color of card is suited to a certain action.
Yeah.
But it's this actually tricky, fascinating card hand management game, how you balance those cards.
But at the same time, it's very, very simple because no matter what you're doing, it's always the same.
Yep.
Basically, it's this card you want to interact with in any way is a level 2 card. If you want to bribe that guest, it costs 2 cards. If you want to kill that guest, it costs 2 cards. If you want to bury that guest, it costs 2 cards.
You want to turn that card into an annex?
Costs 2 cards. So the thing is, it's always the same.
Very well laid out.
It's just very, very, it's a very elegant game
It is.
despite being a super not elegant theme.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of amazing. You have this incredibly nuanced card management balancing game that's elegant with like a ridiculous theme. And it's the same artist for people are saying like as Whirling Witchcraft, another great Halloweeny game.
Yeah.
Weberson Santiago was meant to make games like
Done
this.
some like BGG artist series stuff. Did like a version of Coup. Weberson Santiago is
super
amazing.
talented.
Absolutely amazing.
Very specific.
Very
art.
stylized, very cool. Bloodion's great.
Yeah.
I played some Burncycle.
Oh wow, you going after some more, eh?
I've been going after some Burncycle at home occasionally. Yeah, I really, really like Burncycle. I'm curious where it's going to end up it might be my favorite game of the year. I really, really like Burncycle a lot.
I'm so excited to do our end of the year list now.
I know. So this is another chip theory game. This is a game where you are robots
Pulling a heist.
and I love that it's a robot uprising game, but it's not like a violent one. You are pulling a heist, and you are essentially going to these corporations who essentially own you, and you're fulfilling missions, and depending on what mission you're playing, you're doing different stuff. But usually you're like sneaking in, breaking into stuff, collecting stuff, doing this, doing that. And then a lot of times the missions will have multiple floors. So you essentially are going through this building. We did a playthrough for it. I really, really like this game. This is a game, it was on my games I prefer solo. Like I would gladly play it with you or anyone else, but it's just fun to kind of play solo.
Chip theory is built for solo
Yeah,
games.
they've literally said like
that's
our
their main
whole
audience.
thing was built by solo gamers. But I'll usually play like 2 hands, and so you have like 2 robots, and you always have a command module, which is a robot kind of everyone controls.
Yes.
And it's cool, and you have these like big mechs that are working for the corporations. They're mechs with people inside, and they're like patrolling around. So you're trying to sleuth and stealth around and not get seen. So it's cool because it's like a stealth heist game, not like a big we're robots, we're coming to kill everyone kind of thing. And you're just sleuthing around and trying to do this stuff. And I don't know why, I find it so darn enjoyable. I just think it's so much fun, and I really enjoy it. And I'm kind of like, I was like, I'm gonna take it home and I'm gonna play it kind of on my own. Because this is one of those games where like I want to play every scenario. I really want to play with everything, but just with our schedules and stuff, it's a bigger, longer game. We won't get a chance to do it. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to try and like solo the whole thing basically. And so I've been playing it here and there a couple times this month, and it's been fun. I'm not very good at the game, which is great.
It's tough.
It's hard. It's a hard one.
you got to avoid confrontation at all costs.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but it's really, really fun. I like it.
It's a cool game. I think it's probably my favorite chip theory game that I've played as well.
Yeah, it's definitely mine for sure.
It's really fun, beautiful production, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I love the look of it. I think it's
very
outstanding.
cool. Very cool.
I really like
very
Burncycle.
cool world that the game is set in.
We played Clank.
We played some Clank. We'd been a minute.
It'd been a long time.
OG Clank. We played with the water board.
The Sunken Treasures.
Sunken Treasures.
I think.
So I say OG, I mean with an expansion. But
I think we always play that map though.
it's my favorite. The Sunken Treasures is really cool. You had the idea of like, let's play some Clank. It's been a minute.
I've been wanting to play because it's
former
like
#1 game of all time for me.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, I want to play some freaking Clank. Like, I just want to play Clank, dang it. And
it's a really fun game.
We finally played it on stream, and I'm like, I still love Clank. I still think it's one of the most fun deck builders with a board. You know, where it's just, it's a game where it's a deck building, you are delving down into some kind of...
You're dungeon diving, you're looking for treasure.
It could be a castle, it could be a pirate ship, depends on which map you're playing on. And you're essentially trying to go down, trying to get these like relics, these treasures, but there's a dragon down there, and so you are making Clank. Clank is you banging into something, you're making noise.
Making sounds, yeah.
Exactly. So periodically throughout the game, as you're making Clank, you'll put these cubes up on this little area, and then periodically through the game, the dragon kind of wakes up and starts looking around for some people. And then basically you take all those cubes, throw them in a bag, and then you draw them out. And there's some kind of neutral black cubes that don't do anything, but if your cubes get drawn out, you get damaged. And so
Dragon's finding you and taking a little...
So you're basically trying to get as much treasure as you possibly can and get out before you either die, or you don't want to die in the deeps. There's like 2 layers of the board.
It's kind of a line that bisects the board. It's kind of like above ground and underground.
Indeed.
You want to be above ground.
If you die in the deeps, you just lose. You can't count your points, can't get out anything. If you die above it, you still get to count. You can still win. But if you get completely out, you get an extra 20 points.
Yeah, which is a possible.
So it's one of those. It's one of those games where it's like you don't have to get out. You can just stay in there and just try and collect as much as possible.
It's a viable strat. It's a viable strat,
and it's really, really fun. And I just find Clank to be so fun and charming, and it's a really good deck builder. I really enjoy deck builders with boards. Just pure deck builders, I'm generally not as big a fan of.
Yeah, it's nice to have like
something to do with your cards. Like,
yeah, it kind of helps with the intuitive likeness. Like if you have a boot, it's like, well, I can use that to move, and I'll move my piece. You know, and like that stuff is just fun. I think it really, and especially like Clank when it came into our life was earlier in our board gaming world. It was early in us having tried deck builders. We definitely had... I
think we had Legendary
at that point, which is a pure deck building game. So this was a cool twist of like, well, the deck building is now facilitating stuff happening on the action in the game instead of it just being the game. Yeah. And that was so cool, and it still is so cool. Clank is super fun.
And at this point, we have 4 boards, which are all double-sided. So we have like 8 maps.
All sorts of varieties.
It's just fun. I really we do want to try Clank Catacombs.
I really want to try it. I'm
curious about that, but it's like my thing is we have so much just normal Clank. I'm kind of like I want to try Clank Catacombs for sure, but I'm kind of like
I really want to try. We definitely you kind of made this point the other day. It's like we don't need it.
No,
we have plenty of Clank, but I really want to try it.
Yeah,
because I like Clank. You know.
Yeah.
So I really want to see how that changes stuff.
Jabs and Jazz said Clank still stands up. Still my favorite flavor. I didn't clear for Clank in Space. Yeah, we surprisingly didn't like Clank in Space nearly as much as we like normal Clank
I like
either.
base. I like
Clank is.
I don't know why even that much, but I just prefer base.
You play Color It?
I played some Color It. Yeah, my nieces were in town, and so we played some Havre games. So we played some Color It and stuff, which is really cool.
That explains all the hobby games in here.
Yes. Played. You'll see some more here. So we played Color It. This is a really great...
it's super cute.
I say game. There's modes you can play and stuff, but really what it comes down to is you're rolling out some dice. It'll give you a number between 1 and 3 and a color, and you have to on your little coloring sheet a different pip values, and you're going to color it in with the color. You can roll a star. You can choose which color you want. There's certain rules you can play, but this is a game that you can absolutely scale to whatever you want. It's a way to facilitate coloring. So I was playing like a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. So the 5-year-old like gets it, knows what's up. The 3-year-old not so much. So we just kind of played a very simplified version, just to like, you know,
color in yellow next.
It's just an excuse to color, and they loved it. So Color It is great for that.
It's great for kids.
It's not gonna be something that parents are gonna be like super into or anything like that. But like, honestly, it's a good chance to color, and you can help with like maybe, oh, what color did we roll? Red? Okay, well, where's it to? So it helps, you know, kind of pattern recognition and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I was like, in this picture, like, what would be red in this picture? Oh,
yeah, maybe you want to make that red. Or maybe you want to make that blue to make it abstract.
Yeah, it's like you can kind of do. So it's a very cute game. Very cute game. We played Framework a couple times.
Yeah.
This game is good, man.
This game is so playable. I can play and replay this game. I played this.
It goes over with everybody.
Yeah, I played this with the older of my nieces with some modified rules and stuff, but she totally understood the concept and stuff. And the cool thing about this game is like, as I was playing this, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law were kind of like, well, how does this game work? And then like my sister-in-law bought this game and played it. Yeah. It's a great game from Uwe Rosenberg, and it's based originally on Habitats. Ube's done Sagani, Nova Luna, now Framework, that are all basically twists on the same game. This is our favorite that we've tried out of these things.
I like it significantly more than Nova Luna.
Because it just makes it more simple in terms of how you get your tiles and stuff like that. So in this one, you're going to place a tile out, and you're going to get a task or tasks and stuff where it's like you need to surround that tile with X amount of tiles of this color to complete this task.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, obviously a tile has 4 edges to it. So if you need something that has 6, how do you do that? There's follow through adjacencies. So if I have like silver I need 6 silver around this tile. So long as this one right here is touching is silver, if then I put a silver over here, there's nothing breaking up that,
silver road.
The road down to that tile, it counts toward that task. So you kind of get these it's kind of this engine building game in a way, because you'll eventually kind of focus on a couple colors where you have maybe 8 or 10 silver in this kind of sprawling, but unbroken line. So then I can place a task later in the game that's like, oh, you get 4 silvers. Like you place it, instantly complete.
Yeah.
So you can kind of build up this way to be able to complete these tasks. This one uses these kind of frames. So some tiles will have multiple colors of frames on there, so they could work for different kinds of colors. There's different type of tasks where it's just going to be one color. There might be different colors. There's ones where you can use a blend of colors. But it's also ultimately simple. You're placing these tiles out.
And the frames themselves are technically materials, so it's like wood or brick. So it's also colorblind friendly, which is nice.
Yeah, because they all have different textures and stuff, so you can actually, where like Nova Luna was not as much.
Colorblind
so
friendly,
I really appreciate that they made the textures, because now you can tell them apart. And then if it's a task, the shapes and stuff of those are different, so they're all unique, which I think is a big step forward.
It's a game that gets played. It just gets played.
Because you can play it and then just like put it back in the bag and play it again. Like
it gets played so much. It's so much fun.
Love this game.
I really like it. It's simple enough to teach to most people, and it's also just abstract. It's just a little puzzle, and people love. It just goes over so well. I think Framework is going to be a game.
It's definitely one that like after the first game, people are like,
cool.
I know how to do this better. Let's do it again right now. I know what to do now, and yeah, it's a great game. Fantastic game.
It's good. So another game by Pegasus Spiel, which is great. It's just Fife. We played this. We played this recently, and it's...
you showed it to Joy and Karen.
Oh, yeah, you showed Joy.
Right? Oh, no. Oh, sorry, Crook and Karen. Sorry.
We played Fife. So this is kind of, in my opinion, this is my personal replacement for, like, Calico. It's got very different themes, but basically what this is this is a game where you are putting tiles into an ever increasingly smaller area.
You have a 5x5 grid, essentially. You're going to fill them in with these tokens.
Yeah,
so you have fewer and fewer options of where to place stuff.
Which is kind of like Calico, where it's like, we always say like Calico or Cascadia. But it's like Calico, you have less and less and less options, whereas Cascadia, you have kind of more and more options.
Yeah.
And I generally like them more and more, although I do like the restrictions of games where you kind of get into these bottlenecks where you're like, well, I just kind of need this specific thing.
Yeah.
But I think Fife does it better. But Fife is this game where you essentially are getting these tokens. You'll have a choice of 2 tokens per turn, basically. And you're going to put it somewhere in the 5x5 grid, and you can put it anywhere. And the tokens are going to have a color, they're going to have a number, and they're going to have a symbol. Yeah. And then you have all these scoring surfboards, because it's, surfing theme kind of.
Beach stuff.
Yeah, beach stuff. And you have all these surfboards that have scoring stuff, and you'll put those on either a row, a column, or a diagonal. Yep. And that might be like, in this row, you want to have no symbols repeating. And so then you have to try and put stuff to fulfill that scoring thing. And if you do, you flip it over, you'll score those points at the end of the game. And then you might have over here, it's like you want it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Specifically
in that
specific
order, yeah.
Or this one's like, you have no repeating colors. This one, it's all the same colors, all these different scoring stuff. And so you're putting these surfboards on the thing. And so you're trying to build out your thing to satisfy multiple things at the same time.
Yeah.
But you're limited to what you draw. And so it gets really, really tough. And there gets a point where you're like, okay, I need a purple 3 with a flower on it. And of course, you're like, maybe you'll draw that.
Maybe you will.
But there's some mitigation. Everyone has these kind of special power tiles that every once in a while you'll get to use one of those, and it might allow you to move something around or like swap something out or do something, flip something over, make it like a wild. I really, really enjoy it. It's pretty simple, but it just like destroys your brain.
Yeah, and it's Calico-ish if you're familiar with that game, because you will run into a point where it's like, I've worked on this column or this row, and now this column, it just cannot get satisfied.
It's
You're not going to score everything.
No.
There's no way. I mean, I guess if you drew the luckiest ever.
I really am not.
So you're trying to play stuff in such a way that it can be as useful as possible for all these different directions that you can score. You ultimately will have 12 things you could score.
Yeah.
But which can you, and how do you maximize which becomes like, what becomes your dump row? You're like, I don't care what's in this. I'm not
Yeah.
going to score it anyway, so I'm just going to make sure that's useful for other stuff.
And there's also
really
a
fun.
slight race, because if you're the first one to do like
A certain scoring
thing,
category.
you get an extra 3 points for that too. So
Yeah.
you're also like racing. It's very fun. I really like it.
It's a beautiful cover. It's
very
a pretty game and stuff. It's just kind of tropical and everything, very abstract.
Yeah.
But
so if you
very
like those
fun
kind of
puzzling
games
game.
where like you're getting less and less options, you like that kind of
You feel
struggle.
the stress
I
of that.
really like Fife, and I like it more than Calico, which is where my comparison is in my
Nick
head.
hates cats.
I hate cats.
I also played Hammer Time with my nieces.
You did. Great game.
They loved this game.
Of course they did.
Because I think it's just a simple gimmick of like, hey, you want to take this little hammer and hit the box with it and have gems fall
Yes.
off? We played with all sorts of versions of rules that are in existence. My mother-in-law came up with a great one where these like black gems, because what you're trying to get is the right gems off to put onto your little carts, which you need to match colors to, and that completes that cart, and you want to complete your carts first. But she made this rule, like if you drop a black gem, which is just a not useful gem, doesn't help you at all.
Just
she did
coal.
where if you drop coal, you have to take something else off. Like you have to lose a gem. So now you're trying to be extra careful around that. I was like, that's actually a great rule.
that
Where
is
you're
a
like
good
trying
rule.
to knock it so you don't knock any coal off. It's a
great
fun,
little game.
silly game.
You roll a die, which will dictate how you actually have to hit the box.
Yeah, because there's different rules. You have to use your like non-dominant hand, or you have to close your eyes if you want to do that.
punch it.
Or
Yeah.
punch it. We didn't even get into the die because it's like,
Oh, really?
well,
Okay.
they're too young, and we'll just like have
Yeah,
fun
yeah, yeah.
whacking the hammer against the box.
It's a cute little game.
It's super cute.
I like it a lot. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's a really fun, silly game that you can just kind of scale to, as Hoppa stuff is general. You can scale it to whatever level you need it to be.
Do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun.
It's very fun. You play Kingdomino.
Played some King Domino. I played this with Rolling with Rock during Rocktober
right,
on
yeah.
Board Game Arena. I got rolled because I haven't played Kingdomino in a while, and I just did not score very many points. I built a perfect kingdom, though. It was a 7x7. I had my little castle in the very middle,
Wow.
so I got some bonus points that way. But I forgot the whole thing of like making areas with crowns in them. I let Rock get all the mines. All the mines. I was like, that was a mistake.
Bad idea.
That was too many points. But Kingdomino is great. Our default now to play will be Kingdomino Origins because you can kind of scale it down to be very Kingdomino-ish.
still-
Or there's a couple of like ways to add some stuff to the game, but you can make that choice.
And it's still just Kingdomino.
It's just Kingdomino, but you're matching tiles with landscapes. You want to have a big old area of like forest and as many crowns in there as possible because for every square of forest you have, say you have 7, if you have 6 crowns in there, you got 42 points.
Yeah.
So you're really trying to maximize those areas. Really fun spatial puzzle.
I still think Kingdomino is so good.
Yeah.
I think it, one that spills yards, I think it's totally deserving. I think it's
and you have to build
so
it in a
good.
5x5 or in a 2-player game, a
Yeah.
7x7 grid. So you can't just build it however you want. You got to stick within these parameters.
It's so good. It's
Really
just so
fantastic game.
good.
Perfect spill the yards winner.
Yeah, it's incredibly good. We played some Marvel United.
Yes, we did.
We had
like an afternoon.
We had a bit of an afternoon, which is very rare for us to have just kind of a free afternoon.
We're like,
but
you wanna
we
play some
did.
games?
We're
We're
like,
like,
you want to play some games? Let's do
Yeah.
this. And so, we played Marvel United, which I've been wanting to play more of, and I really, really, really like Marvel
So
United.
good.
I think it's so much fun. It's ultimately a relatively simple game, and you each get a hero. Like Michael's like Captain America, and I was Hulk or whatever. And then you're playing out these cards, and it's cool because it's a very cooperative game because you play out a card on your turn. That card will allow you to move, punch
Give you some
stuff,
actions,
or like
yeah.
save stuff. That's basically all you're doing. But
Yeah.
the cool thing is you get to use the card before your card as well.
Yeah, you're
so like,
teaming
oh,
up
I'm
in
going to
that
put
way.
this one out, which has 2 wilds on it, which is very powerful. And that way Mike gets to use it on his turn too.
Then you do too.
And then I get it as well. And so like, you're going against some kind of like mastermind villain kind of thing. But they're all very different. That's what's cool. It's like
The game really comes down to like the most interesting part is the villains.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're playing against we were playing against Ultron, who's like putting up all these different like clones everywhere and stuff. But if you're playing against Taskmaster, it's like it's a completely different game. And we've really only played the base game of this.
Yeah.
We have a couple. We have like the base of the X-Men set, and then one of the Spider-Man sets.
Yeah. So we have just a. I mean, obviously in terms of all the content available, we have a
A
very,
small amount of it ultimately. But nonetheless, this is one of those games where it's like, man, even just the base game, I really find it to be so much fun. And then there's just so many villains, so many expansions, so many characters, and all the characters are slightly different and have a couple like big power cards that make sense for that character. I really, really enjoy Marvel United. And this is one of those games
Really
where it's
cool.
like, if I find like you know, the all-in box, which is very, very expensive online. But if I ever found like a deal, I'd probably get it because like I also really enjoy painting.
The painting element for you is like,
for me,
there's like a double value.
I want to paint everything. It's gonna take me 26 years, but I really want to. I've been working on Doctor Strange for like 2.5 months.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool that you're like, oh, I could like sort of slowly work on this forever.
Yeah,
it's kind of great.
Yeah, I love Marvel United. I would love to get all of it. I really would.
Yeah,
it's outstanding.
It's a fun game, really fun game, really good looking game.
Played a little number 9.
We did
a bit at the end of a stream. We played a little number 9.
It's a go-to filler game. I love the puzzliness of this. It's a tile laying game with these polyomino shapes that are abstracted versions of numbers, 0 through 9, I should say. And on the game, you're ultimately going to play 2 tiles of each of those 10 numbers, 0 through 9. And what you want to do is build up, ideally, a base where you have nice base with no holes in it or anything like that, and then start to build up on subsequent layers, because everything on the base that's touching the table is worth nothing regardless of the value of the number itself.
Yeah.
Everything that's on the first level from that is worth its face value. So if you put a 4, it's worth 4 points. If you can then build up a base and go on top of that, all the things are double the number value.
So would be 8 points. Yeah,
it'd be an 8. You know, so you want to kind of get built up, and then hopefully when those 8s and 9s roll around, you can put them onto levels where they're worth points or even doubled or triple points. It's just a fun game.
Good.
It's so perfectly trolly because the tiles are not double-sided. You cannot flip them over.
No.
And all of the shapes and the way they're designed are perfectly set so that you're like, if I could just flip this over,
it'd be perfect.
It'd be so great. And they're like,
nope. It's a big finger waggle.
And it's so, because you're getting trolled and you're like, God, why'd you do that? And they're like, because I want it to be hard. I want to make you hurt.
I want you
and I think it's so hilarious that they do that. It's so well engineered. It's a great, just pure stacking tile placement game that's very quick. You can play this with an infinite amount of people if you have multiple copies of this box, because you're just going to draw out 20 cards. Each of those numbers, 0 through 9, will get drawn twice.
Everyone do a 6,
So you can play it, like in theory, if you have copies of the game, mega games, which we have actually done like at Aircon and stuff.
It's very fun.
Great
number
game.
9, it's one of the best little fillers. Goes over great with everybody. It's
puzzly
awesome.
Goodness.
We played Roger the Ganges, the Dice Charmers. This is the dice version of Roger the Ganges. We still really enjoy it. We love Roger the Ganges. Love this version. But it feels very Roger the Ganges-like, while still being a very different game.
Yeah.
And it's a very combo-tastic roll and write, which is always up our alley.
Love it.
Where you do this, you put this little road here, that gives you this, that's now going to get you this. Oh, now because you did this, now you can do this. It's very, very fun.
Excellent.
It's just so good. It's just so darn good.
It's such a good game.
It's so darn good.
Really love that roll and write.
I've been playing some more Search Planet X at home. This is a game I play probably like once a week or so at home.
Do a quick puzzle real fast.
It's so good. This is a game where you're trying to find Search Planet X, pure logic deduction. It's run by an app, and then you essentially have like comets and asteroids and like gas clouds and like dwarf planets and
they all have certain rules about them in terms of like where they can and cannot be.
So like the dwarf planet can never be next to Planet X.
Yeah.
Asteroids will always be in clumps. They can never be alone on their own. And so you have all these different rules of how these different bodies in space act. And then you can just deduce from there. So you're like, okay, there's an asteroid here. Okay, that means there has to be an asteroid next to it.
At least one. They're either going to be 2 groups of 2 asteroids or 1 group of 4.
It's like, so well, but it can't be here though, because I know that this has to be a gas cloud for da-da-da reason. You're like, okay, and you just start deducing, and there's all these like different hints you get where it's like...
And there's specific rules for each game. There's certain specific things about like how the comets act and stuff. So there'll be additional things that are unique to this specific game you're playing.
And it's all just done by the app. And you get these like hints. You can do like science, and you basically learn like at least one gas cloud is a directly opposite of a comet. And so you're like, okay, well, I know there's a gas cloud here. That means there's a very good chance this is a comet. And so like you just deduce it down, and it's just so fun. And a solo game, you're playing against a bot, which again is just run by the app.
And they're literally like learning
as you're learning.
As you're learning. They don't have like the answer.
It's so really cool. Much fun. If you like logic deduction puzzles, get Turing Machine, which is one of Mike's favorite games.
Love it so much.
Search Planet X is ridiculous.
And this one's really satisfying because you'll have that moment where like you cascade where you go and a bunch of the information all slots into place. It's like so satisfying.
It's like puzzles.
So satisfying when that happens.
Seeing the Matrix.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We played some Twilight. Well, I don't think I played it this month.
Yes, I showed it to a couple of friends who are big Twilight Imperium fans, and they both really liked this game.
It's great.
The person who's a really big Twilight Imperium fan really liked it.
Is that Chris?
Chris, yeah. So This is a big roll and write version. It's the Twilight Imperium of roll and writes, and that is a 2-hour, roll and write game. But it's a big roll and write.
It's ridiculously huge.
Yeah, that's fair to say. But this is all set in the kind of Twilight Imperium world. It's got the characters and stuff you see. It's got kind of versions of the stuff you'll do in Twilight Imperium. Obviously, it's very pared down. You can't get all of TI4 into a roll and write. There's no way.
It doesn't really feel like TI4 at all.
No, but it feels like its own thing, which was... Nick, you played Twilight Imperium once. I have not played it at all. Both of us really like this game because it's just a fun roll and write. And so we're kind of coming at it from a perspective of like just purely as the game itself, not how does this do it being Twilight Imperium. I have no idea. I don't know how Twilight Imperium works.
Yeah.
I don't care to know that much. So this game I think works really well just as a fun roll and write that looks overwhelming because you have 4 sheets of stuff, but it ultimately comes down to like you get some actions based on these dice, and you circle and cross stuff off.
Yeah, it's not that complicated.
It's not that complicated.
It looks very complicated. Yeah, it's really fun.
And you're only ever dealing with one of your 4 sheets at a time.
Yeah.
Which is very useful.
And you have like a faction which gives like a special ability and stuff. It's
relics
really
you can
cool.
get that have insane abilities. You can build out some stuff for like wars, which are just a little abstract. You want to have more strength than your opponents to your left and your right. Works really well. It's just fun to kind of build out those combos and chain stuff together. So we like combo-tastic kind of roll and writes, and this is very much that. We're going to get this thing, and then now you unlock this power. You can use a pink die now, and you can do this, you can do that, and you kind of ramp up as you go. It's just kind of crossing stuff off the boards. It's really, it really breaks down into a pretty simple parts.
Yeah,
ultimately.
It's super fun. I really
like this one.
I really enjoy it.
Really
enjoy it a lot.
Really fun.
And last but not least, we played a little Wayfarers.
Still delicious.
It's still
nutritious.
Still absolutely delicious. Yeah, we played it, and
So
it's
good.
just, this is the first in the next series from Shem
The
Phillips,
new trilogy
which is
from
the South
Garfield
Tigris
Games.
series. And I'll tell you, man, I'm just like, I'm excited for Scholars of the South Tigris because Shem just keeps getting better at what he does.
Shem and Sam, man, dynamic duo.
Yeah, I've done like a solo playthrough of this. We did a game house on this.
Yep.
It's just really fun. This is one of those games where like, it's kind of intimidating at first because there's so many different things you can do.
Yeah.
I was like, just choose one and kind of do that because there really is like so much different stuff you can do. But it's just so much fun. You're building out like cities and land on the left side of your board. You're building out like water on the right side of your board. You're building out the sky. As you're charting the sky.
Charting the stars.
It's just so much fun. And it's, I don't know. This is one of those games also where it's like, I feel like we can just play it over and over and over again. You're like, I'm just going to try doing this time. Oh, these cards came up. Okay, maybe I'll go this way this time. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's such a fun game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just choose a direction and go and find ways to just find synergies, card combos and stuff. Again, you think about combo-tastic games, like this one has it because you can get these townsfolk under your vistas. Now, every time I get a space tag or a star, card or something, I can trigger this vista, which triggers that townsfolk beneath this. You're getting all this stuff, and like, yeah, there's just combos on combos on combos. It does a great blend of like your dice placement workers, which are your workers themselves, using these worker meeples, which go onto cards to use actions on the board, which are a shared resource.
Yep.
So Nick might recruit that card and thus take that worker in the future.
Yep.
There's just a lot. It's kind of like one that like we've only ever taught it a couple times, and I'm like, I don't
know where to start.
Know how to start this teach.
Yeah, it's a tough teach. Yeah.
But we just say at the end, we're like, I know it's a lot. Just start doing stuff, and you'll find your way. And they do. But it's just like one. I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's kind of a tough teach, but it's very fun. I like Wayfarers.
Love it so much. It's so good.
And that is the end.
That's
so
it.
thank you so much for being. So at the end of we always do because we are live right now, we always do a Q&A. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat.
Pop them in the chat.
Real quick, Gino said, Scholars is great fun, better than Wayfarers, but Wayfarers is great as well.
Are you serious? Oh, don't say that because we love Wayfarers. It might be my favorite Garfield game to this point. I don't know.
Someone's scrolling through the chat right now just to see if there's any... See if there's any questions. Someone did ask, where was it? It was about the clever games. It said, Mikey, what's your ranking of the 4 die clever games?
Number 1, still my favorite and most played.
Gauntlet Clever?
Gauntlet Clever. Probably I'd go 1, 2, 4, 3 at the moment, but I need to play Clever Hawk Dry, the third one, more. I didn't play that much of that one, but So probably Gauntlet and Clever is still my favorite, just because it's the most familiar. Like Clever Forever might usurp that, but at the moment I'd go 1, then 2, then 4, then 3.
Yeah. Fair.
That's my official ranking.
Captain Michael said, has Nick won a game of Dreadful Meadows yet? No. I've gotten destroyed every time we played. I am not very good at Dreadful Meadows.
We played on Monday
all.
and I crushed you pretty good.
Crushed me. I'm not good at Dreadful Meadows. I do not
see the candy
Mike
Matrix,
sees the Matrix
man.
much better than I do. I really like it, but I do not see the Matrix in that game.
Crook was advocating for Broom Service for Halloween game.
That's
the
a good
first
one.
and only time we played it was right around Halloween, and I agree. I want to play that again so bad.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's such a fun game. It was hard though. It was tricky.
Yeah. Kabuki Kid said, best survival game is Robinson Crusoe for me. Still waiting for something unseated. Survival games, yeah. For me, it's Robinson Crusoe's dropped off for me. It's so hard.
It's so hard.
It's just so hard.
It's not quite to the level of enjoyment that it once was. Because I think for us now, it's like the work of it and the grind is more brutal than the discovery of the game kind of propped us up for a while. So I don't know in terms of survival games what would be our favorite. Maybe it's still our favorite survival game. I don't know.
Kyle Reed asks, Marco Polo-ish dice payment. I believe this was in reference to Ping Yao.
Yes.
Kind of. I guess, yeah, actually, because in Marco Polo, you can always go to somewhere else. You have to put a higher die, right?
There's some of that, yeah. You have to usually...
in a way, yeah, in a way. It doesn't feel like Marco Polo in any other way, but I guess the dice placement from Ping Yao is similar-ish to Marco Polo. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. It's just kind of, it's hard to describe that game. It's a weird economic game, which is how everyone describes it.
Yeah. Kabuki Kid's talking about Slay the Spire, saying $100 seems steep for a card game. It's definitely not cheap. Like, I'm not going to like make light of something that's $100.
Yeah.
It is a card game. It's a lot of cards. It's a lot of content.
Yeah.
And like for the way I kind of look at it, this is just our personal opinion. No one else has to believe what we think. For me, I'm like, it's a lot of cards. You're getting those sleeves and stuff, which if you were to sleeve like 300 cards might be a $50 value on its own.
Yeah.
And like for Kickstarter, $100 is kind of not an uncommon price for them.
Yeah,
so like,
nowadays.
to me, Slay the Spire doesn't stand out as like egregiously more expensive than like most Kickstarter games of its ilk. It's kind of right in there. So to me, when I saw the price tag, I thought it'd be more like 80 and probably would have preferred it to be more like 80. But when I saw 100, I was kind of like, I also can see how they'd get there.
Yeah,
but it is also a $100 card game.
I don't think it's
so you're not
overpriced
wrong.
for what you're getting in the box. Because Mike said, like, you're getting like 750 cards. There's 400 of those art sleeves in there. Sleeves are expensive. Now, you can argue that, hey, they shouldn't have put those things in there. And you can argue that. But it's like, for what's actually in the box, I don't think...
The sleeves are functional to the game. Like, they're essential to making the game
I personally don't think $100 is too much for what there actually is in the box. Now, again, you can argue that they should have put less in the box for that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly fine.
It didn't shock me when I saw it.
The problem
with that
is,
said, I'm like, yeah, it's another expensive
can
Kickstarter.
buy the video game for $20. So a lot of people are like, why would I spend $100 for this over that? That's also a fair argument. I personally don't mind the price, but it's turned a lot of people off for sure. You know, the game, we really like the game, but again, it's like, $100 is $100, right? That's 100%. A lot of money. That's a lot of money.
100%.
All righty.
The grossest game I can think of is Abomination. Abomination goes well into like dark and stuff where you see like, oh, you're gonna see a chopped off head and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I like that because they
went for it, but you're kind of like, yeah, this might be off-putting.
they go full send with it, but yeah,
and the body themselves that you're constructing is gross.
It's gross. It's gross, but it's also meant to be that way, which is kind of like. But yeah, so it is one of those things.
Teach Pippin is at my feet down here.
Indeed,
just there.
Indeed. What crowdfunding games are you most looking forward to playing? Right now, I would probably say Oathsworn, just because everyone seems to be like obsessed with that game right now. We're not going to back Oathsworn because I don't think we would ever play it because we just don't have time to play those big kind of Gloomhaven-y campaign kind of games. But like Tim Chewin, who's a good friend of ours, like it's like his favorite campaign game. Paula really, really liked it, and I'm just like that's so. I'm just so intrigued by this game. We're not going to back it.
I think it's the most surprising one because we've heard so many good things. I was like, okay, I guess maybe it's a thing. 'Cause just like on its pure look, and we saw it at Gen Con like 2019. This is the first like Rat Mini. I was just like, whatever that is.
It doesn't seem like a game we'd enjoy.
Bye. And apparently it's really cool. The game that I like that's on crowdfunding or coming to crowdfunding that I'm most excited to try and we're going to be playing soon is Unconscious Mind. Really excited for that game. Yeah. Really excited for that game.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm like particularly intrigued by right now. Not really. I would say that I'm interested in the Mosaic expansion because I really like Mosaic. But
We backed the.
It would have been Slay the Spire, but we've played Slay the Spire.
Yeah, we just backed the expansion materials for Wonderland's War, so I want to try that.
Always excited for that. But for me, it's probably Oathsworn just out of sheer curiosity because people are obsessed with that.
I'd say that for curiosity, unconscious mind, because I know that's going to be stuff that we like. So it's like, excited because of that. And then we have
like what's coming. We have Darwin's Journey.
Darwin's Journey, and then Hanamakoji Geisha Road,
that's right.
or whatever it's called.
So those are the ones I guess we're looking forward to in terms of that's coming.
Yeah.
But
we haven't played Tigris, Michael, so I don't have thoughts on it at all. I don't know even really what one does in that game.
Indeed.
But
did anyone dress up for Halloween? We were a family of pirates.
We were a family of pirates led by my baby daughter, who was a tiny little pirate running the show. So that was really fun. We were all pirate style.
TJ asked, did you actually wreck Dr. Strange for that hilarious mini Murphle where you painted white over his eyes? Yes, I did. I smacked white all over his face. I had to then
had to quickly whoop, wipe it off.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was actually painting that mini on stream a couple weeks ago, and
going to fix it.
A decent amount was fixing that. Yeah, it's. I was one of the things where I got to go full send on this. I can't I got to go for it. It's not that hard to fix, and so it wasn't too bad. But we messed that mini up right good.
Yeah. T says, Unconscious Mind looks really good. Saw them do a special on how they consulted the therapist and they were sensitive to what they were making. Yes, I watched Amy and Maggie's review of it, and they were talking about, like, they're being very careful to not label people with, like, afflictions of, like, oh, they're bipolar or something. They just have, like, grief that you need to, like, So they keep things kind of general and stuff to, like, show respect for people who, like, in this day and today and stuff are really suffering from stuff and need help and trying to deal with that in a respectful way. I was like, that's very, very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
That's a beautiful thing to do. And I like that ultimately your goal is to help people. Mm-hmm. That's how you get points and stuff, is helping people.
That's awesome.
And furthering a field, which is something that many of us benefit from today. Like, I literally have therapy at 1 o'clock, so yay, it's great.
You had therapy before?
I have a double therapy day,
right,
2 different times.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It said most look forward to the game is The Witcher, Old World, and Frosthaven. Yeah, sure. Frosthaven is I think soon. It's couple,
I think it's like right around the corner. I guess like we didn't back it or anything, so we haven't gotten updates. So all of a sudden it's going play. I was like, oh, but I guess we haven't been receiving updates. Why would we? So I had no idea. How's Parent Life treating me? It's treating me awesome.
Yeah. Grandma's in town right now.
Grandma's in town, so we got double. We got Nana and More in the house. Yep. Our mom's here. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's all the possible, cliche things I could say. It is.
Yeah.
I love it. It's just the best.
It's cool.
Gino says, "Ooh, Darwin's Journey really want to arrive, but I'm patient, kind of." Yeah, I just with Kickstarters in general, I don't expect.
I forget about them,
even before we had now. There's all these massive supply chain issues and stuff. Even before that, it's like just forget about it. Like it's going to get here when it gets here. It will take longer than you probably hope. Just let it be. Like none of us control. Like believe me, publishers would love it to be here now. They would love for it to have already shipped. It hasn't.
Yeah.
So just like. I'm just like, give them a break, unless they're being like egregious. But yeah, sometimes it's like Darwin's Journey, I'm like, oh, I'm excited for it. But now I'm like, I don't think it's coming. They're like, maybe before the end of the year. I'm like, no.
Afraid not.
I don't think so. So I just try to put it out of my mind, and then it arrives as a present someday, and you're like, ooh, what's this?
Yeah,
like,
that's my favorite thing was every time it's like, ooh, this is a present.
It's like a free game. If you forget about it, it seems like it's this mystical present that arrives someday.
Danny said I backed my first 2 things. Nervous about it. Necromolds and CoraQuest. CoraQuest is great. CoraQuest, we know Dan very well, and like CoraQuest is such a cool idea. Yeah, I think it's one of the coolest things that's ever happened in board games, CoraQuest. The art's done by kids. It's done by Dan and his daughter, Cora. I think it's one of the coolest. And the game is fun, too. It's fun. It's really, really great for kids. I just think it's, like, so cool. I just think it's such a cool thing.
Yeah. Necromold's like a classic thing coming back, right? Is that like where you make the little things out of Play-Doh and you smush them and whatnot?
I think so.
Yeah.
So question, what's for lunch? Probably leftovers?
Probably leftovers. We got Lazy Dog. We kind of got like these like dinner packs. Yeah. So probably that.
Probably leftovers.
Probably leftovers.
Yeah. Probably leftovers.
You get some right now. I haven't eaten yet. I need to eat.
Yeah, it's probably leftovers. But normally it's like sandwiches. We do sandwiches a lot.
We're
for
big
lunch.
sandwich guys.
We're usually it's like we're working all day or taking care of the baby all day. So it's just like it's
whatever.
Usually it's quick. Whatever. It's like all right, we'll eat this real quick. Maybe I'll go grab some food for both of us while Mike's like feeding Logan or something like that. So like it's always very quick.
Yeah. So we're teaming it up. I've been looking at Destinies too. Yeah, they've got more content for Destinies.
Always,
more
yeah.
stuff
Those
out
Destinies
right
is
now.
cool.
T says, yeah, I try to forget about Kickstarters or go nuts. Yeah, there's just so many things that happen, so I just try to like don't even think about it.
I think it's fun to also
try
be
not
like,
to
oh, cool, this is
remember
finally
it.
coming great. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there's
like,
just so many things.
Another thing I'm looking forward to getting. We've played it already, but it's Legrand High. I want that.
Yes,
We were talking about that
the
game
Master
recently.
set,
I'm
the
just
deluxe
like,
set. Yeah, yeah.
And Thunder Road by Restoration Games.
Heck
I
yeah, dude.
freaking loved Thunder Road.
Dad says, my child got into drawing things for core requests. That's why I love that they're like getting these drawings and then Gary kind of spruces them up and just fills in the color, but it keeps the childlike
kid
nature of the
nature,
drawing.
yeah.
That's why core request is so cool.
Yes.
It's made for kids, by kids, and it's exciting and fun, and like parents can totally get into it as well because it's kind of this like light dungeon crawler campaign, but it's just like so whimsical and wonderful because you're seeing like kids' imaginations in front of you.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like that is one of the coolest ideas of all time. Like we cannot speak highly enough about the genesis of that game, the idea of it, and it's also fun to play. Yeah,
It's very cool.
we're gonna forever toot the horn of Core Quest. So cool.
David Moore asks, what are your go-to games to take when you travel?
Ooh, good question.
We always bring High Society. We usually bring Silver and Gold.
Bring Silver and Gold's a great airport game. We'll usually bring like Castle of Burgundy, the dice game. It's fun to play on you can play it easily on a plane, a little roll and write, gives you a vibe.
Usually bring Patchwork Doodle.
Patchwork Doodles come a lot of roll and writes. We brought Scout to the last few things. That's gonna probably be a forever travel game now.
Yeah,
because
maybe
it just
like
goes
the
in your
Crew.
pocket.
Yeah.
The Crew.
And then I think we're always gonna bring Bag of Chips probably now.
Yeah. So a lot of like little card games.
They're always
and stuff
small,
in
right?
general.
Yeah. But we can't do much more than
Those
that.
things you can pop in a pocket.
All right, well, if anyone has one last question, let us know. But otherwise, we will get out of everyone's hair. Yeah, thank you all for being here for
Thanks
this
for joining us
Rapid
live
Reviews.
for another one. If you're watching us after the fact, hello and welcome. We're glad you're here. Hopefully you had the chat on so you can see what we were chatting about. We'll be back with more stuff and, of course, Rapid Reviews next month.
Indeed.
Make sure if you can, if you've been watching this live or if you're watching this after the fact, give this video a thumb up. We'd really appreciate it. Drop a comment with the favorite game you played this month.
Yeah.
Thank you to our new patrons. We will catch you all next time. I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph. That was Rapid Reviews. Catch you all next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.